Hi, I'm Alex. In this video, I'll walk you through the Hotkey Trade Panel and show you how I use it day to day. I originally built this for my own discretionary trading. I wanted execution to be faster and less error-prone. Over time, it grew into a full execution and risk management tool, and the idea behind it is simple. Once you know where you're entering, where your stop goes, and how you want to manage the trade, the panel takes care of the rest. It sizes the position to match the risk you picked, places orders from the keyboard or straight off the chart, and keeps track of pending orders and partial exits for you. One thing it doesn't do, it won't generate signals or make decisions for you. It's there to help you execute your own plan, quickly, accurately, and the same way every time. We'll start with the main settings, then go through the panels, and finish with a few real trade examples. General settings, hotkeys. First, let's add the cBot to a chart and open the settings. Every action here has a hotkey. You can buy or sell at market with instant execution, work with pending orders, close the current symbol, or flatten everything across all symbols. We'll get to each of these as we go. These are just the defaults. By the way, you can remap any of them. And you don't have to memorize them either, because every hotkey action also has a button in the panels. Risk and reward settings. These three presets are the amounts you're willing to risk on a single trade. You set them once when you attach the cBot, and later you switch between them right from the chart. Below that are the stop loss and take profit distances in pips. The stop is the one that matters here, because that's what the position size is calculated from. So your worst case on any trade is exactly the risk amount you selected. Management and auto targets. This section handles trade management. You can set how big each partial close is, how far the stop moves each time you tighten it, and configure up to 2 optional profit targets, each with its own distance and closing size. The partial targets are off by default. Turn them on whenever you want to scale out of a trade. There's also an option to tighten the stop automatically after the first target and move it to break even after the second. So once those levels hit, the trade locks itself in. Drawdown protection. This is the safety net. It sets a maximum loss for the whole account. If that limit is reached, everything closes and trading stops for the session. You can also turn on a trailing limit, which follows your equity as it makes new highs. So once you're up for the session, part of those gains stays protected. That's the setup done. Let's hit apply and move on to the panels. The main panel sits anywhere you like on the chart, and it covers the essentials: switching risk presets, watching your exposure, turning partial exits on or off, and seeing your live profit or loss in both pips and money. You can also expand it whenever you need to adjust the stop loss, the targets, or the partial exit sizes. Anything you change here carries over to your next trades. The secondary panel, in its default view, keeps things minimal: session P&L, and how close you are to the drawdown limit. Expand it, and you get everything else: market buy and sell, the pending box controls, with the fixed or free size toggle, break even, partial, and close, plus drawdown protection and a session reset. The buttons and the hotkeys run exactly the same logic, so use whichever feels natural. I added the buttons for completeness, but honestly, this tool was built around the keyboard. Interactions and edge cases. Market entry and sizing. Here's the usual workflow. I pick a risk preset, press buy, and the position opens, already sized to match that risk. No lot size math, no extra steps. Once I'm in, the panel updates on its own with my current exposure and live P&L. And because every trade goes through this same process, the risk stays consistent no matter which market I'm trading. Pending orders and the risk guard. Pending orders work the same way, through the hotkeys or the buttons in the expanded panel. A pending order starts in preview mode. The entry and stop are on the chart, but nothing is live yet. From here, you can keep the selected risk preset or switch to free size mode and drag the levels around to set your own stop distance. When it looks right, you arm the order. If the setup can't actually deliver the risk you selected, the order gets highlighted, the minimum required stop distance is shown, and the exposure display switches to a check risk warning, so you can't arm something that doesn't add up. One small detail worth knowing. If there's a pending order on the chart and you open a market position before price reaches that level, the pending order is canceled automatically. Partial targets can be switched on before you enter or while the trade is already running. Hotkeys or the main panel buttons, either works. You can also adjust the target levels from the panel at any time. If the trade came from a single entry, the chart labels show the exact value of each partial exit. If the position was built from several entries, the labels show approximate values instead, since partial exits won't line up one-to-one with your fills, so the actual amount may differ slightly from what's displayed. In this example, you'll see how quickly a trade can be managed from start to finish. We'll begin by selecting a risk preset and placing a market buy, with the position size calculated automatically based on the chosen risk. As the trade moves into profit, you'll see a partial position closed at the predefined amount to lock in gains, while the remaining position stays open. In this example, we will also close the entire position with a hotkey before reaching the final target. Throughout the entire process, notice how the panel continuously updates your position exposure and session P&L, giving you a clear view of your trade from entry to final exit. You can also observe and compare the profit values displayed on the chart and the real executed exit values. In this example, the focus is on active risk management after the trade is open. You'll see how the stop can be tightened incrementally using hotkeys as the position moves into profit, reducing risk while keeping the trade running. As momentum continues, the stop is moved to break even, eliminating the possibility of a losing trade. From there, you'll see how the stop can continue to trail lower in controlled steps, protecting more of the unrealized profit as the trade develops. In this final example, you'll see how the panel works with cTrader's built-in double position feature, allowing multiple entries to be combined into a single aggregated position instead of opening separate trades. Because aggregated positions are closed using FIFO rules, you'll also see how the tool accounts for that behavior when calculating partial exits. Each entry is tracked individually, with partial targets mapped to the fills that will actually be closed. To make this clear, the position is labeled aggregated, indicating that the displayed levels represent the combined position rather than a single entry. As the trade unfolds, you'll see the partial targets execute in sequence while the remaining position stays open, with stop management continuing to protect the trade throughout. Pay attention to the aggregated values displayed on chart and the real executed values. That wraps up this presentation. If you've made it this far, you should now have a solid understanding of how the trade panel works and whether it suits your trading style. After your purchase, you can request the full user guide. And if you ever have any questions, I'm always happy to help. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I hope you found the presentation useful.